going on, everyone, and welcome back to episode 10 of our Chel Stars podcast. Today, we're going to have another good discussion. We'll be going over where we think certain teams will rank in their divisions and as to why. Also, a massive signing happened yesterday, and I know Kyle can't wait to speak on that. He's already had Colorado on his mind since we started this call.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, and a couple other things around the league happened, like the Wheeler captaincy getting stripped and the retirements we'll be getting into a little bit as well. And not to forget about our fan interaction question, which we will have every week. So, Max, I'll let you kick it off with the news around the league.
Perfect. Thank you, Mikey. As you kind of alluded to, we have a fair bit of news to go over today. Not all of which was actually signings for once. It's a little bit different here. So I think we can just start off with the big one. There was a lot of rumors that he was going to be signed before the season started and he was going to be making top dollar, and it became true. He signed for $12.6 million. Nathan Mackinnon, obviously, for 8 more years starting next summer. So he beats out McDavid's deal by $100K to claim the top spot. Kyle, what's your thoughts?
I'm really excited. I'm sure you guys saw that coming. Super stoked that we get Nate in town for another 8 years. I think it's a relatively team-friendly deal as well. Obviously, being a $12.6 million deal is never going to be super team-friendly. He deserves a lot more than that, so it's great to have him. Yeah.
Yeah, you basically have to pay the guy that money for what he's done, and he's deserved it after being underpaid and being known as the best contract in the NHL, which you never really want.
Never want to be the best contract in the NHL.
Because that means you're underpaid.
Yep, absolutely. But now he's getting money. He's the highest paid guy in the NHL. Took off a bunch of UFA years, which is huge. So, yeah.
Kyle, I got a question for you.
Yeah, bring it on.
So, if he's the highest paid player, McDavid was beforehand, do you think when McDavid's contract ends, he's going to get more than that?
Oh,
he's going to become the highest paid player again, right?
No doubt. Absolutely. Either that or Matthews will be the highest paid player by then.
Yeah, Matthews is next summer, so look forward to that.
Yeah, I like the cheeky 100K more than McDavid, just to kind of poke the bear a little bit.
Does that mean McDavid's contract is team friendly?
McDavid's contract is incredibly team friendly. I don't. Yeah, if you look at the analytics on the value of the contract, McDavid should be making like twice as much as he makes. That's how much value he provides to the team. Yeah. Not that he can actually make twice as much because the salary cap limit or the player contract limits, but yeah.
I do also love looking into the details of the contract, and in for the next 3 years, McKinnon takes home over $15 million in signing bonuses. So almost all of his deal is just in the first few years of signing bonus, so it's big money.
Yeah. I think once the cap goes up too, the contract is actually going to look decent.
Oh yeah, as long as it goes up easily a couple of mil, that will look like its old counterpart, basically.
Yeah, there's rumors within the next 3 to 4 years it could be up 10 million or more, so hoping. Nice.
All right, Aaron, do you have any thoughts on the McKinnon deal?
Nothing really extra to add, to be honest. I agree that it's definitely team friendly, although it may not look that way, and I'm sure Kyle is very ecstatic right now.
Pretty stoked. There's one guy at work that was like, "It's not a great deal." I'm like, "Bro."
Kyle, I had one question for you. Was there ever any doubt that he would resign? It couldn't have been very stressful waiting.
No, not at all, actually. The amount of times in the media he said, the only place I want to be is Colorado. You just knew it was just a matter of time until they kind of got everything sorted out. I'm pretty sure it was a blank check situation, how much do you want? We'll make it work. And Nate's a reasonable guy who values winning over making upwards of $20 million a year. So, yeah, which he could have easily got on the open market, like 15 or more.
I wonder if he
Definitely.
did even have any offers. Probably, but I'm sure he shut those down pretty quick.
For like a trade.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, because when was his contract officially up? Not till next
End of this
year.
year.
End of
Yeah.
this year, yeah. So
So, yeah.
maybe if they waited, but
Yeah, I didn't want them to. But he also said if they didn't get it done during the off season, then he was going to wait till next off season, which that would have started making
That
me
would be
worry.
scary.
that would be stressful. Yeah.
The same thing with like the Miller thing. If you're waiting till next off season, then it's like, oh, now you start overthinking everything.
Yeah. Alrighty, we can move on here to the last 2 days here. We've had 3 pretty big defensemen announcing their retirement, all 3 of which were waiting for deals.
One really
this
big
summer.
defenseman.
Yeah, literally, yeah. All 3 of which were waiting for deals this summer, but who knows if behind the scenes they just never got them, and this really helped with that decision or not. But Keith Yandel, Zdeno Chara, PK Subban, all retiring essentially. So, what are your thoughts on that, guys?
Can't say I'm
They
that
definitely
surprised
didn't get
to see Subban's.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know too much about the other 2, but I really don't think he had any offers.
Just offers from TNT and stuff, probably.
Yeah, he probably already has a much better deal signed with them.
Oh yeah, that's my.
I disagree. How can you think Subban had no offers at all?
Well, maybe none that he felt was worth it. Like maybe a couple pretty small ones, and at the rate his career's been going and the other career he's been starting will probably make him a lot more money.
I guess. I'm just very surprised that he wouldn't even take
I guess it
small
might not be
offer.
teams that he wanted. Like, what if Arizona offered him a contract? He's probably like, no.
But, I mean, this is what I'm thinking. You have a limited amount of years as an NHL player. Why wouldn't you want to capitalize on that and play the longest as you can and try and at least win a championship? He's set. He can do whatever venture he wants to get into. I'm sure he can do that with business or media following. Like, I'm very surprised he chose now to retire because, like I said, it's a very limited number of years you have to actually play. And I doubt he had no offers. I mean, this is PK Subban. You know, there's defensemen a lot less talented that are getting offers. To not think that there's a 1-year deal out there somewhere. I think Edmonton had rumors to be interested among other teams. So I'm just surprised by that decision. But to retire completely from playing is, I think.
Hey, you never know. He might come back. Players come out of retirement, right? Sometimes.
True.
True.
He's not going to get any better. So.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from with that, Corey. And I think you're kind of right. I think he might have been just super picky on where he wanted to play. Maybe he was wanting to stay East Coast in Canada and maybe not play for Ottawa. So that only leaves like Toronto, Montreal.
I think those were 2 names that were brought up in like rumors. Like he wanted to either, go for a cup run with the Leafs or, go back home to Montreal where, he had amazing years there. So
yeah, but
I don't think,
I think there were a bunch of teams all over the league that were calling him, but he kind of made his money though too. Like the contract he just finished was a huge deal. So maybe he just doesn't see that value in playing for a middling team where he's going to keep on beating up his body and only make a mil or 2 a year. That's my thought process, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
I mean,
as a right shot defender, they're very valuable to a lot of teams. So there's no way he didn't have any phone calls.
Yeah. Especially former Norris winner too. Like even if he had a shaky last few years, a lot of injuries and just underperforming, I mean, you still take a chance on those guys.
I would if the Canucks wanted to sign this guy for 1 year for 1 or 2 million, like I would do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And if it doesn't work out, then he can sail off into retirement halfway through the season. But yeah,
But yeah, I mean, clearly the guy he doesn't want to play, I think. So
Probably picky is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't want to play enough.
yeah, which is not good if you're giving him.
Well, yeah. Do you really want that guy on your team then?
Mm. Alrighty.
And then when it comes to Chara and Yandel,
There's older.
Well, there's the complete opposite. Chara, I feel like if he got an offer, he would 100% still playing. I mean, there's one of those guys that, fitness freak and just loves the game, kind of like what we saw with Yager as well, like literally will play until they cannot. So I think with Chara, he just didn't have any offers and was kind of forced into it, would be my guess.
yeah. And same with Yandel too. I think Yandel's season after Philadelphia scratched him a game to ruin his Ironman streak, I think he was pretty much done with that season, and it kind of just took over during the off season too, where he just didn't feel like it anymore.
Yeah. So sticking in Canada here with all this talk, we're moving over to Winnipeg. You don't hear too much news out of there, at least this summer. There hasn't been too much. But a little bit of a bigger one with Blake Wheeler getting stripped of his captaincy. We haven't seen this in the NHL for a couple of years now. Usually that does mean, behind the scenes, there could be, who knows what's happening over there. I know last year was a major disappointment for them. So, I mean, anyone have any thoughts on this one here? It's hard to say much without all the details.
Yeah. How many years does Wheeler have on his contract with Winnipeg?
2.
I guess it just tells me they're probably looking to move him, or they don't see him in their future.
Yeah, I don't know how accurate it is, but I did read somewhere earlier today that he had requested a trade last year. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. Apparently, both sides were trying to part ways. So I feel like that could definitely, if that is true, burn some bridges as far as team culture goes when your captain doesn't want to be there anymore.
I mean, do you blame him?
Definitely not.
I mean, I think he's the reason why a lot of other people, allegedly, the leadership group was the reason why a lot of other players didn't want to be there. So, kind of ironic, full circle.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess over there right now, it seems.
I think there was something about I think there's something about just just wanting to change up the locker room presence and stuff like that to see if they can come into the new season as a new team with new leaders, and hopefully they can get something going. But I don't think that was kind of the right move. Getting rid of stripping your captain who's been on the team since, wasn't he on the Atlanta Thrashers or something like that back in the day? I don't know. Yeah. He's been there forever, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good point. What Mikey says, kind of refresh, restart a little bit the team, which I can understand, but also that just brings so much media attention too. With stripping your captain, that it just adds a lot of noise for the players as well.
Just for the first little bit, right? I think everyone handled it super professionally, at least from the media that I saw. Both the team and Wheeler were super professional about it. I think I support Bonus in doing that, coming into the team where one of the potential concerns was the leadership team. Why not take care of it right away and build from scratch, give new players opportunities? Because players like Ehlers, and I mean, I think there's somebody else on that team that should be a bigger part of the solution for that
Kyle
team.
Connor or someone.
Yeah. I know Kyle Connor was getting good ice time, but Ehlers was still playing second line minutes as one of the most skilled players in the division. Just sneaky good player. So I think it'll be good, just a huge refresh for that team and give new opportunity.
Right. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah. So speaking of possibly requesting trades, moving on to someone who did request a trade and it was fulfilled, Nils Lundqvist with New York Rangers getting traded to the Dallas Stars for a first and a fourth, both conditional, but mostly going to stay as is, most likely. So, I mean, Dallas gets themselves a pretty young right defender who was not going to make his mark on a team that was loaded on the right side and not giving him the, equal opportunity to really play. So he gets a little bit of a time there, and maybe Dallas can actually use him over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'd like the only thing I have to say about this is you don't see a lot of young players request trades, so I definitely support the kid on that. Obviously, he's getting in a situation where he's probably going to be playing and given an opportunity. Like Corey said with Subban, like you only have so many years to like play in the NHL and develop and make your money and set your family up for success for generations. And obviously, the kid thought he wasn't gonna get that chance in New York, so it's cool to see him move on to the new opportunity already.
Especially for a younger guy, with such important years on him to, grow and develop, he needs to be playing, and playing as a seventh defenseman is not going to do anything for you.
Nope, not at all. And then New York gets a good asset back in a first-round pick. Yeah. Hopefully they can put to good use and continue their trajectory.
All right, and the last bit on the news here before we can move on is we had a fair bit of PTOs that really stood out to me, and us, former Canuck legends and whatnot. Firstly,
legends?
Legends. Oh yeah. So we're starting off with I think Mikey's gonna like this one. Jake Virtanen going to Edmonton on a PTO, so it's not confirmed if he's gonna sign a deal over there. But Mikey, thoughts?
Okay, I mean Jake Virtanen, honestly, I don't really have much to say about him. Like that's like good, genuinely. Like he's good at hitting. He had like one good season on the Canucks, I think. I think he'll fit well with Edmonton, though, if he does successfully manage to get on their team somehow. I think he'll fit well with like kind of like the physical aspect. He could fit well with like Kane. I think Edmonton likes to play a little more of a physical game as well, considering the players they've had in the past, like Lucic and Cassian, and Derek Ryan, I believe, on their fourth line, like those type of guys. I think he'll fit well on like the fourth line on that team. But that's all I really got to say about Jake Virtanen. He didn't really impress me on the Canucks, and after all the controversy, I mean, if he finds a team that wants him, then he'll be good on the fourth line on Edmonton.
If he makes Edmonton, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, same.
I agree.
I just don't see him being an NHL player. But that's my opinion. Did you know that Nail Yakupov finished with more points per game last year?
I saw that.
Than Jake Virtanen? Like, why you gotta hate on Nail and then go and sign Jake Virtanen? It's just a weird PR move too. Like you went through all that stuff last year with Kane because of the allegations there, and it's just weird why they keep on like dipping into that like toxic pool.
Like I said, they might just want some more physicality. That's what he brings. Like he's got a decent shot on him. He doesn't have to play like top minutes a game. He's good for a few minutes a night hitting people.
I mean, as good as he does have those qualities to him, he's got the speed, the shot, and he can hit. I swear, during his whole tenure with the Canucks, I barely saw that. You'd maybe see 1 or 2 games of the whole year where he applies that, but then the rest, he's just a ghost. And you just don't even notice him out there. Like, he should be laying the body, maybe getting into a fight or two, but he just never did that.
Yeah, this PTO tells me that if you're a high draft pick, no matter what, there'll always be a team that wants to pick you up based on the potential you've had. Someone wrote about you somewhere, because he's really, like Mike said, he had one good year. other than that, he's showing not a lot with the Canucks. Then you add on all the illegal stuff that he's gone through this past year, and it's like you're taking on so much. I feel like his name is larger than his actual performance at this point.
Like, what if he plays with McDavid? Like, what if they put him on a line with him? Like, come on,
He's not good
He's
enough.
not.
Dude, he's a decent shot. He was a big guy, so I think he did well in junior because he was bigger than a lot of guys.
Yeah.
He had a decent shot, but from what I've seen, like his passing and his playmaking skills were not really at a NHL level. So I don't think there's any way he can play with Edmonton's top players.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, do we really see him getting that much better?
No.
No.
How old is he now?
Ooh, that's a good question.
25, 26?
Yeah.
He's probably mid to late 20s.
Here,
Mid, I think.
26 years old. Yeah, he's not developing anymore.
Yeah.
No, if he can fill what Cassian filled when Cassian first got to Edmonton, that'll be high and above my expectations. And that could be what maybe they're trying to fill, possibly, like Mike said as well.
Yeah, well, like you said, just having been drafted so high, they're probably just hoping and praying that something will finally come out and click for him.
Yeah, I feel like that's always with like a high draft pick. It's like there's always a team that is willing to bite. Like there's always a team that will pick a guy out because he was quite a high draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Yakupov bounced around, he was St. Louis and Colorado. Like he had better years than Virtanen, but he didn't really have a lot of great performances. But there was always a couple teams wanting to pick him up.
Yeah.
Just like what's Galchenyuk is a great example. How many teams has Galchenyuk played for?
That was going to be my next point.
Colorado.
So yeah, that was my next guy. I was going to say he's a PTO for Colorado.
Hey, well, there you go. Exactly my point. Like,
I was waiting to chime in.
Yeah.
So yeah, another guy, like Corey was saying, that high draft pick, a lot of potential and everything behind him, but a few years under his belt, and he's traveled to a lot of teams, and some teams will always still try and grab him no matter what.
Alex Galchenyuk's played for 7 teams in the last 5 years.
Jeez.
Oof,
That's rough.
that's a lot. It's a lot of moving.
Yeah, poor guy lives out of a suitcase.
Yeah. But if there's, I mean, I it's so hard to say. If there's any team he could stick with, it would be Colorado. But like he had a chance on Pittsburgh playing with Crosby or Malkin, didn't make the cut, and he played on and Toronto a couple years ago playing. Yeah. He had a chance to play with Matthews or Tavares, didn't make the cut. So like,
yeah.
Is this gonna be the opportunity that turns him around? I don't think
possibly
so.
Last straw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it was his third team, maybe fourth, like maybe, but at like 7, I don't see it.
All right, we can move on to another Canucks legend. I'm saying legend as a joke here, but Antoine Roussel signing a PTO with Philly, so they're adding more grit and just absolute sandpaper, nothing else.
He'll make the team. He'll make the team just for that. He'll make the team.
Sports is gonna love him.
Yeah.
See, I always kind of liked Roussel just because of that like physical nature that I feel like a lot of players just don't really have. And I know he doesn't really offer too much more than that, but you do need that on your team.
But they just signed Nick Delorier this offseason too.
I mean, clearly they have a strategy, and it's unique, but you never know.
Just going back to the 80s Flyers.
Exactly. If anyone would do it, that's Forth.
Beat the shit out of everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. Not much else to say on that.
I don't know. Could be a roster player, add some leadership. Yeah, I think he's older and has injuries now, so I wouldn't expect a lot. But
That's their Couturier replacement, I guess.
oh right.
Yep.
That,
Yeah, he'll fill the
Right.
shoes. Don't you worry.
Yeah, there you go. And lastly here, we got a very underrated signing. I couldn't believe he wasn't signed for this long, and he still isn't technically because this is the PTO, but Sonny Milano going to Calgary on a PTO. Kyle, I think you would definitely have a thing to say about this guy.
Do I?
I mean, analytics, I've heard he's pretty good over here, but
I actually haven't seen his analytics. All I know is that Anaheim fans do not like him.
I've never heard of that.
You know why?
Why?
Why don't they like him?
Oh, I thought you knew the answer.
Oh, I thought you knew.
I was.
yeah.
Sorry, no, that was a question.
You said it like you knew.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even remember why. I just saw somewhere they did not. They just weren't the biggest fans of him. I think he was maybe some performance issues or something.
Oh,
Hold on.
I mean, he had a decent year, I swear, but
Or like off ice issues. I have no idea.
I don't know. I've never heard of that.
There must be a reason why Anaheim elected not to re-sign him, because I am looking at his numbers and he has 34 and 66, so it's not terrible numbers. So,
So if any Anaheim fans listen to our podcast, please let us know why you don't like him, because
Yeah,
I'm still confused.
Yeah.
because that makes sense if that's the case that they didn't give him a qualifying offer.
Yeah.
But I just quickly Googled Anaheim Ducks hate Milano just to see if anything popped up, but nothing did. It's just all
Yeah,
over
'cause
the
I mean,
I think he's pretty good. Like Calgary's third line, why not? Put him
yeah,
down there.
for league
Find
men.
where I saw this. This is gonna frustrate me. Like
Yeah.
ripping through Instagram and Facebook because I know I like read through all the comments when I started seeing like negative ones. I was like, oh damn, I didn't know that that was how people felt.
Huh.
I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it, so just pretend I didn't say that.
He's more of like a top six player rather than like a checker. Isn't that right? I haven't watched him a ton, but I remember he was
yeah.
Yeah, he's
he
more
was
of
like a
skilled
highlight
guy.
reel. He was like a highlight reel YouTube kind of player, wasn't he?
Well, he was part of the Zegras,
No,
over the net
I know.
pass. Yeah.
But even before, like back to Columbus, wasn't he that like that YouTube sensation kind of player? No, that's what
I don't know.
that's what I remember.
Yeah. No. He had some viral clips. I don't know if it was when he was in university or in the minors or something, but he had some viral clips.
Yeah, okay. Like that's what I remember from him. So I'm thinking like maybe he's just your kind of like offensive player that if he's not in the top six, then he's not really contributing. That's. But again, I haven't really watched him recently at all. So.
Yes. So I don't know where I saw this, but I remember seeing something where like there were a couple fans that were like going off about what they didn't like about him. But, I mean, didn't the same thing happen in Columbus too, where they just kind of got rid of him for nothing?
Traded him for. I just looked it up here. They traded him for Devon Shore.
Pretty much nothing.
Yeah. That's
So, yeah.
not much.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Calgary is just getting better and better with all these little signings, hopefully, and then my prediction of them finishing higher than the Canucks is going to be correct.
Okay. Well, we'll get into that.
Cool. All right. So why don't we move over here to some of the results from our recent Instagram polls. So we just started a couple series. Who laughed at that?
Who do you think?
Yeah, definitely you.
We forgot about one PTO. Sorry, we forgot about one major PTO.
Oh.
Another
Come
Canucks
on, Max.
legend, Alex Chase on
Oh,
Arizona
shit.
Coyotes.
Ah.
Alex
God.
Jason.
Yeah.
I totally forgot.
How could we forget?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say they're gonna sign him because
Let
they like
let
to
me-
sign old people.
let me move Arizona up in our rankings now.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, we were on the Canucks trend with a couple players there. I was like, you can't forget about this guy.
I totally
All he did was
forgot,
stand in front of the net.
Yeah.
Damn.
All right, Aaron. Yeah, I said that in.
After that quick detour, back to our over-under polls here. So I don't think you guys have fully even seen our results yet. So I'm just going to read them all out. If you have anything you want to add or if you're surprised or anything, feel free to comment, but I'll just blast through these pretty quick here. So our first category here was goals. So up first, we had Kreider, over or under 49.5 goals. 92% of people said under.
Yes.
So clearly no one thinks he's going to reproduce this season.
Take that, Mikey.
He's on the first
Yeah.
line again.
Yeah.
He's on the first line with Zibanejad. So,
Mikey,
see.
did you vote over?
no, I think I voted under for that one.
Okay.
Okay.
Based
All
off
right.
that poll,
52
Max
goals
actually
is
won the trade.
crazy. 52 goals is crazy.
That's a lot, especially how many were power play goals. There's no way.
And tip-ins.
I'd say based
All right.
off that poll, Max actually won the trade.
Just based off the poll.
Hopefully he does trades with me then.
All right. Next one.
Next one, we have the Brinkat, also over under 49.5 goals, and 89% said under for that one. All right, next we have Matthews, 59.5. This one was a little more split, but 62% said over.
Ooh,
It's close.
I like it.
All right, and then we have Makar, 29.5 goals. Again, really split, and again, 62% said over.
Nice.
Kyle, I
Maybe
want
we'll
your
score
quick
this
opinion
year.
on that one. What do you think?
I think if he could have a more consistent goal scoring season, he could easily score 30. He was close last year. He's getting there, but this year, I'm feeling it.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
Last one for our goals. We have Ovechkin, 49.5, and 78% of people said under.
Ooh,
Damn.
not fun.
Yeah, he's
I
an
won't-
interesting one for
I
sure.
did say under, so.
I
I said over.
I said over. You said over?
Yeah.
What?
I think I
Clearly,
said
all our
over
fans
too.
disagree with you.
I think I said over too, to be honest.
Damn.
Yeah, hell yeah, over. It's Ovechkin.
I wanted to get really close to that record.
Yeah.
I did not want him to score 50 goals, but just feasibly, I don't know if I see it
I want
happening.
him to. I just don't think he will.
Yeah,
Didn't he score 50 last year?
I don't actually know how many he
Uh,
ended up with.
I can double check.
I don't
I
think he
got
scored
it.
50.
I don't
I
think
thought-
so.
I thought he had 50 last year. Last year, 50. Yeah, he scored exactly 50 in 77
Jeez.
games. Yep.
Wow. Well, there you go.
You never know. All right, so our next category for our over-unders this week was just for points overall. So we have our first unanimous vote of the night. Not probably shocking who it was. McDavid, over under 119.5 points. Everybody thought he was going to get 120 or more. So,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah.
And next up, we have McKinnon, over under 99.5. And 88% of people said over.
He always
So-
finds a way to not score 100 points, though. So,
That is fair. I do want to ask because I know Aaron, you said under. I know this for a fact.
I did say under. I thought it would probably be close, but I don't know. I feel like he's had some injury issues, and I just am not certain he will be healthy enough to make it.
Fair enough.
Clearly, not many people agree with me, but that's okay.
Yeah, no.
I'm a little bitter from having him in fantasy recently. All right, next up, Pedersen, over under 69.5 points, and 78% said over.
Let's go.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I know.
And of
what
course, we
voted.
had to end with another Canuck before we get too deep into Kyle's hatred of the Canucks here. Over under 89.5 from Miller, and only 56% said over. So that one was actually the most split vote we had.
Yeah, I said over just because I wanted to.
I think I
Fair
said
enough.
under for both just because I wanted to.
Yeah, but that's it for this week, and we will be posting a few more categories on our Instagram story for some other over-under polls we'll talk about next week. Again, our Instagram is at Chel Stars. Please go follow us so you can interact with our polls. All right, it's a division prediction time.
Yeah, the main event.
Took us a while to get here, but here we are.
So I'll start us off. We're going to start with the Atlantic Division. So pretty much what we're going to do is just give you the full kind of rankings. We're not going to go through each team. We're kind of just going to do who we think is going to who are going to make the playoffs, who will kind of fall close to that wild card spot, and then pretty much who's just not going to make it. So the first place in Atlantic averaged out will be Tampa. Second is the Leafs. Third, we have Florida. Fourth, we have Ottawa. Fifth, Detroit. Sixth is Boston. Seventh is Buffalo. And eighth is Montreal. So pretty much the top three teams there, Tampa, Toronto, and Florida, we kind of have in lock and in position to make the playoffs. Probably Ottawa, Detroit, and Boston are going to be like the middle tier, and we have Buffalo and Montreal just not even coming close to making the playoffs. You guys think that's a pretty fair ranking in terms of that division?
Yeah, I would say once we averaged out all of our rankings, I don't mind those there. It makes sense to me. We have those top three teams that should be making the playoffs, and then we got those bubble teams with Ottawa, Detroit, and Boston, and then the bottom two that we can probably tell where they're going to be in the bottom there. I do want to go over to Corey though, because I like his list is very intriguing.
Good word for it.
Yeah, Detroit at number 3 over Tampa, and then you have Boston all the way down at 8th.
Yep.
Boston coming last. Interesting.
Yeah. So I think looking at Atlantic. I think I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be number 1. They're going to be more in that bubble, I think, just because they've had those 2 back-to-back cups, 3 straight finals. They're not going to be at the top all the time. Look for Detroit to push. They're getting better. Look for Buffalo to push a little bit more. Boston, I think, will have a bad year. Yeah, I think they're going to bottom out. And you're going to have, so we have Detroit, Ottawa, Buffalo, Montreal. These teams are going to be pushing. They're younger, getting better. Tampa Bay is on its way out. It's going to start this year. So is Boston. Tampa Bay and Boston are on their way out. And Florida and Toronto are at their peak. So expect those 2 teams to be near the top.
I totally see what you're saying about Boston, but I just feel like there hasn't been any sense of decline yet for Tampa. To have them drop that much with not that many changes seems a little bit extreme this fast.
I have them at 4. Sure, they'll make the playoffs. They're still good, but Kucherov. But I mean, what Stamkos is always injury prone. Kucherov's been injury prone. Their players aren't getting younger. They've just re-signed all their veterans. They'll be steady, but that's it. That's my rationale. I mean, predictions are my biggest thing with predictions is they shouldn't be a carbon copy of last year. We should predict change.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Because
And that's why Ottawa's no longer at the bottom.
Slightly. Okay.
So between Ottawa, Detroit, obviously I know Corey's got Detroit, but who do you see between those 2 teams fighting for a wild card spot stronger?
Detroit, because they already took a leap last year, and so they're 1 step ahead of Ottawa.
I like it. Yep.
Yeah.
I think Ottawa got a lot better in the forward department, but it'll. I don't think they got enough improvement from their defense
Yeah.
and possibly even goaltenders too, right? Like,
I don't think they touched their defense.
I don't think they did either.
Like,
Also,
goalies they did a little bit, but not much.
I think too, like we can't put too much weight on additions and subtractions, but I think we should also think about just like natural
Development.
growth. Yeah, like natural growth as a team, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you know, your young players are going to evolve, or they should. You know, and a team that's older is, well, you can't expect them to regress a little bit. So, you know, look at Detroit's goaltending, Husso and Nedeljkovic. Like, I expect him to have a better year than he did last year. Nedeljkovic, I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
anyways,
That's a pretty solid tandem. You're right.
yeah. So,
Awesome.
yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I like it. So.
Perfect. Corey, you want to take away the Metro?
Yeah. Okay. Let's head to the Metro. So our top, I'm gonna say a top two that we have are Carolina Hurricanes and New York Rangers. Both teams did well in the playoffs last year. New York obviously went to the third round. Carolina was in the second with their backup goalie. I think we can both expect those teams to be at the top of the division. They're, again, I would say, like in their peak or hitting their peak. Definitely in a Stanley Cup window, especially for Carolina. And then we have kind of your bubble teams, I would say. I'll put we have New Jersey at 3, Pittsburgh, and then Washington. So Pittsburgh and Washington are kind of like your mainstays in that Metro. Still good teams. Few changes there, but I like that older core. New Jersey's a new addition we have here that didn't make the playoffs last year. I guess we can all shoot it to who wants to talk about New Jersey? Maybe Aaron.
I'd talk about New Jersey.
Yeah, okay, go for it.
Sorry, Aaron. If it, I'll pass it off to you
Go
after.
ahead.
So be prepared. Well, I mean, I talked about Hughes a lot with you guys. I don't think we talked about him too much on the podcast, but I but I'm anticipating a huge season from Hughes. I think he had a great season like a great second half of this season last year, and I really think he's gonna pop off this year, and I think he sure is also going to take another step forward. Their goaltending cannot be as bad as it was last year. Like, it was actually like atrocious. So anything better than atrocious goaltending will mean that they're now fighting for a playoff spot. Especially Dougie Hamilton too. I forgot him. He should be healthy all year. He missed most of last year, so yeah.
It's just an unlucky job.
Did they change their goalies up, or do they still have their same goalies?
Well, they still have
They
Blackwood,
added,
and then they had
Added
Vanacek.
Vanacek, yeah.
Okay.
So
Aaron, what do you guys say on New Jersey?
Yeah, to be honest, not much different than you. I just agree that they're like young and just ready to come into their prime here. I mean, they've made some changes, but it's more just kind of what you said. Just their young players have been slowly developing, and they're finally at that point where you can finally start to see it coming through.
Pretty
look
exciting.
for Luke Hughes to maybe join the team after his season in college.
Yeah, I heard about that. Mm-hmm. Which team between Pittsburgh and Washington is most likely to fall off?
Pittsburgh.
I think
just because they're so old and injured?
Yes, they are all old and injured. I think I talked about this last time, but I also think Washington is gonna fall off too a little bit. But they got that Russian fuel that'll keep them around for a little bit longer.
And Max, you said Washington, you think?
I think Pittsburgh will do better than Washington.
Yeah.
Both I had, slightly down in my rankings. They're very hard to predict, the Metro. between all of them in New Jersey. Washington did add Kemper, which is a pretty, a little bit of a better add after last year also having very bad goaltending. So hopefully he'll be able to help them out there.
Hopefully, yeah. And Mikey, does Columbus even sniff a playoff spot, or are they still too young?
That's tough to say. I honestly think if they're going to make the playoffs, they'll be closer to that wild card spot. I don't see them beating out, obviously your top 3, top 4 teams that we kind of went over. With the Goudreau addition, he could either do really well or just like poorly, in my opinion. I don't really know who he's going to play with either. Like he might play with Laine. I don't know who the center will be, but maybe Jenner. I think, yeah. What were you
talking Boone Jenner at center, who apparently is sneaky good. Did not know that, but Columbus fans apparently love him.
I had him in fantasy, and he was a little hidden gem for me.
Yeah.
Sorry, Columbus fans?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we all had Blue Jackets at number 6 on our ranking. So besides Corey, we all had the Blue Jackets at number 6. So that just kind of shows that if they're going to make it, they're going to be a wild card team, which is what we think anyways.
Just squeaking in there, right? Yeah. Awesome. Anybody else for Metro you guys want to mention? Islanders? Any chance the Islanders?
No. So much opportunity over the offseason, so many good players to sign. Nothing happened.
Yeah. Even if
unless Barzal carries them.
Yeah,
they got rid of Trotz, so who knows?
They have good goalies.
Yeah.
They do have the best tandem in the league, yeah. Yeah. But yeah, they're just a very sound defensive team, but they just don't know how to score. So that kind of required to win some games.
Yes.
Awesome. We'll switch gears into my favorite division, the Central Division.
I wonder why.
Obviously, Colorado's at the top. I think the Central and the Pacific Division was unanimous for the top team. When it comes to like that second tier under Colorado, we were kind of looking at Minnesota, St. Louis, with a hint of Nashville, Dallas in there. I don't know how you guys feel about Winnipeg, but I think Winnipeg's a step below those 4 teams.
Definitely.
And then Arizona and Chicago are just out of the question at all. So it'll be an interesting test this year to see Minnesota, St. Louis, Nashville, Dallas, and how they play this season and where they end up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a really tight division.
Yeah, that one was really hard to do. Like, I could easily see Minnesota, St. Louis, Nashville kind of all interswapping between 2nd and 4th. I mean, even Dallas, they had a few little additions here and there. They still have to sign Robertson eventually. But those 4 or 5 teams, 4 teams, they can juggle for me.
Yeah. I think the only reason why I had Dallas at the bottom of mine was just the fact that Sagan and Ben aren't getting any younger. Same with Pavelski. I don't see them as strong this season. I'm thinking Pavelski will still be close to that, but without that secondary scoring of Jamie Benn, I just think that they're going to struggle a little bit more. But new coach, who knows how he's going to play these guys. So,
what about St. Louis?
St. Louis, I'm a big fan of St. Louis because they're just built like tough. I think this is the last year that they'll have a good kick at the can because O'Reilly and Tarasenko's contracts are coming up, I think, at the end of this season.
Yep.
And so I'm thinking that they're going to go all in this season, and then they'll have to kind of reevaluate after that. But I think St. Louis will be up there. Did I have them second? I had them second. I think St. Louis is just a overall tougher team, and they're going to bully Minnesota a little bit and take that second spot in the division.
Yeah.
Because Minnesota's coming into this.
What's that?
Sorry, I was going to say Corey's rankings are interesting for the Central.
Well, no, I would just switch St. Louis and Dallas. I like.
You have Winnipeg at 4.
Oh yeah. I think I do have Winnipeg at 4.
You do.
And why is that?
Because they're good too. They got Ehlers, Dubois, they got Scheifele. Like because they underperformed last year. Like if they have Hellebuck, he's a great goalie.
That's so true. If Hellbuck can have an unreal season again, which he was consistently doing for like half a decade, they could find them in a playoff spot easily.
Yeah, I guess that's why I think they have potential to be better. Nashville, yeah, I had them over Nashville, but Nashville's like if Yossi and Saros. Yeah. I guess I had St. Louis. I'm just kind of similar. I guess I'm just not a big fan of these old teams, but I feel like St. Louis. I think it'll start this year that they won't make the playoffs.
Okay.
Yeah.
One player to watch from Winnipeg, if you're in a really deep league, Cole Perfetti, is supposed to play top 6 minutes for the Jets, so he's going to be playing with either Kyle Connor or Nikolai Ehlers, and either Dubois or Scheifele. So
Kyle Connor, unreal player.
Good player, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's all I got on there. Nashville. Anybody have anything special to say about Nashville?
No.
Not entirely. I mean, the one thing that scares me with Nashville is like last year they just had like career years out of like everyone.
Yeah.
So for them to like replicate that, it's gonna be pretty difficult.
Like Duchesne and Johansson came out of nowhere with monster years.
Yossi even 96 points.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, but Saros is only going to get better, so.
Clearly, he's just going to carry the team.
I don't know. He could get worse.
Don't say that to Kyle.
He could. Maybe I won't draft him this year. Who knows? Yeah.
All right, so I think we can probably move on to the Pacific divisions then, unless anyone has any final thoughts on that one.
I have Chicago over Arizona, and you guys all have opposites. So.
Yeah.
Well, and what's your
do you want to talk in depth about that?
Yeah, Arizona sucks. Patrick
Chicago is so much better.
Patrick Kane is better than everybody on Arizona combined. If they bring up a couple of their newer draft picks, then they'll probably be ahead of Arizona. I don't see Arizona doing well.
Buddy, we just talked about Alex Chason. Come on.
Yeah, right, man. I'm switching my
right now.
ranking. Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Arizona's looking like doo-doo. Okay, does anybody have a guess for their first line center according to Daily Faceoff?
Well,
no.
Still.
Well, I mean, Schmaltz is listed as a left winger here.
Oh, that's weird.
I really only know Clayton Keller.
I think I know it.
If someone guesses it without looking at Daily Faceoff, I will buy you a beer.
I feel like I remember seeing a comment somewhere about it. I want to say like Boyd.
No, Max, you can't do this.
Yeah.
Travis Boyd.
Travis Boyd is their starting center.
Oh yeah.
Okay, Max, I owe you a beer.
Hell yeah.
Oh god, that's disgusting. I'm looking at the roster right now. Like, I don't mean to drag this on, but oh my god, do they have a poor team? They have Andrew Ladd on their roster on the NHL app.
Travis Boyd didn't have a bad year last year. He had 17 goals, 18 assists in 74 games. So, I mean, that's quality first line center for a bottom feeding team.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready for the Pacific?
Please, yes.
Okay, so this one was a bit of a mess, I think. trying to come up with the order. We did have a pretty clear number one, and that was Edmonton. I mean, pretty fair in that one. They have just kind of overall gotten better. They finally seem to have solved their goaltender issue. So that shouldn't be quite the surprise that we had them in number one. Bottom of the barrel, kind of similar again. At the very bottom, we have San Jose, then Seattle, then Anaheim. And then we get to the middle of the pack, which is a little bit all over the place. So our final rankings we ended up with were LA 2, Calgary 3, Vancouver 4, and Vegas 5. I do think that's pretty fair given the changes teams have made in the offseason. Vegas losing very important pieces, and just overall, I mean, you never know. It's honestly a bit of a mess, that division. So yeah, I'm just going to throw it over to you guys. Any thoughts on particularly that middle pack, how that's going to work out?
It could be the most competitive division, I think, because all those middle teams they're all kind of getting better. They're all about the same.
Yeah. It's just like a mess in between. I think Kyle made a good point earlier. I don't want to steal it, but basically all of them have like almost one little weakness to their team that really needs to, in a way, be good enough for them to make playoffs. And if it falters at all, then that's going to be their weakness. And that's the reason why they won't make it. You can go through all the teams and they have a very clear reason why they, going into the season at least, that they're going to be in a rough shape.
Yeah, pretty much every team here is still missing one key piece to really go far in the playoffs. But Pacific Division wise, they can probably be successful. Just outside of that, I'm not too sure still.
Max, I'm glad you stole that point because I totally forgot that I said that earlier.
Oh, okay. Well,
you should have just taken
There's
credit
a
for
good
it.
point. Well,
Yeah, you could have just taken credit.
yeah, but if you remembered, then it would have been like, hey.
Oh, well, like as soon as you said it, I remembered that I said it, but
Yeah.
but I'm glad that you brought that up. Yeah, it's like I was saying, it's interesting that every single team has just like that one thing that they're missing, like you guys kind of doubled down on, and that's just going to determine who finishes in that like third, fourth, fifth spot in the division. So I personally think LA is a lock. I know some of you guys' opinions might differ on that, but I think LA was like a lock for second after Edmonton. But it's the Calgary, Vancouver, Vegas.
I would agree. I think LA is going to do well. Again,
Yeah, they're almost the most well-rounded.
Oh well, what about Calgary? What's Calgary's weakness?
That's a good point. I mean, I had LA 2, Calgary 3. I think they're pretty close. I don't know what I would say Calgary's biggest weakness is.
The fact that their team changes every 3 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's it. It's just
It's a much different team, so.
it's how do you predict? Yeah, that's right. How do you predict? Their best players are all new.
Like, is Kadri going to be as good as he was in Colorado for them?
Yeah.
It's a big question.
Yeah, that was a career year. Lindholm
Contract
had a really good year last year. Yeah, contract year. Huberdeau, new team, not playing with Barkov anymore. What can you expect from him? What's gonna be like a good season for him? Is 90 points a good season for him, or does he have to be in triple digits again?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Calgary will definitely be one of the most surprising teams this year. Whether that ends up being a positive surprise or not, we'll see. But yeah, they look different. They look good, but it's good on paper. Who knows how that's going to translate?
Yeah, I like that point.
Well, thank you. I finally got a compliment, you guys. Jeez.
What does Vancouver have to do to make the playoffs?
They need better defense still.
And they need other players need to be at their best or near their best. No one can have bad years like we saw last year.
Yeah, Pedersen is a big key to this team. If he can stay healthy and have a year that everyone's kind of hoping for, then I can see them doing really well.
My
Forwards are really good, but defense will have to be good, a lot better than it was last year. So everyone will have to chip in.
Basically, Kyle, I put Vancouver at 2. Like that's it. Like that's kind of
potential.
Yeah, I was basing that because I wanted to be. What do you call it? Like optimistic. Yes, thank you. Like that's my optimist.
Is that their potential or is that their ceiling? Like, I'm like, what would their like?
Oh, their potential is. Well, their potential is the first in the division. Like, they have pieces. I mean, I think. But the realistic ceiling, is probably 2 because LA is not that far from Vancouver.
Are they an extra stronger team if they have Pettersson, Miller, Horvat down the middle, or having Pettersson on the wing is better?
That I don't know.
No,
that is difficult because I know Dickinson had a really rough year last year, and I think they still have him penciled in as the 3C, and Lazar's the 4th center. So
is Hoglander a top 6 player yet?
I would say so. I mean, he complements with Horvat pretty well because he's a very grindy kind of guy. He works hard.
Yeah.
And shows flashes of that skill.
I don't think he's showing an E yet, but he could be.
You say flashes. I mean, there's potential, but we haven't seen it consistently.
Yeah.
Do they still have to move a player to be under the salary cap?
No, I'm pretty sure we're good.
Good, yeah.
I mean, there's also talks that what's his name? Poolman might still be injured, so he'll be sticking on the IR possibly.
Right.
So a bit of a rough signing there.
Yep.
Alrighty. I think that pretty much concludes all of our division predictions, unless anyone else had anything to chime in for the Pacific there.
I think you can take that as a no.
Yeah. Perfect. So, I mean, we'll quickly wrap things up here. So we'll just want to go over our fan question results from last week, which the question was, what team is going to make the playoffs that didn't last year? And similar to what we were just talking about here, you guys replied with New Jersey and Vancouver. So that kind of coincides with what we think, and I do like both those answers. Pretty much next week, we're going to have a little earlier in the week podcast, at least that's what it's temporarily scheduled in for, and we have been anticipating this podcast for a while now. If you might not know, Kyle and Corey have a very famous debate between each other whether face-offs matter in the NHL. And that's just not so much they be in the game, it's more so do they actually statistically matter to the game of NHL.
It's not like do they matter, because like there's situations where winning a face-off, like 30 seconds left, you got your net pulled, that face-off matters. But like throughout the game, does winning 15% more face-offs than your opponent actually make a difference in you winning or losing?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I don't think that 15% makes a difference, which we'll get into next week. I don't want to
save your arguments.
Yeah.
I'm going to save my arguments because I don't want Corey having rebuttals ready.
So that's what you guys will be in store for. So that's our question for you guys. Do face-offs matter? Yes, no. So let us know. Chel Stars Insta, or even if you can find us on, message us through or leave a review on Spotify or anything like that. We'd love to hear it. Aaron, I'll throw it over to you now.
Yeah, so thank you. Next week's going to be a big one. Make sure to bring popcorn. They will have lengthy arguments for you guys. So if it's going to be any podcast to listen to, that's going to be the episode you want to hear. We will make sure to update our over-under polls. We'll throw that new fan question onto our Instagram as well. So as always, go follow us there. And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.